Today, half the world's population lives and works in deltas. And while the number of people in these areas is expected to grow even more, the consequences of climate change will lead to more frequent flooding, coastal erosion, and the loss of biodiversity. Life in the deltas is under pressure. Building with nature is the ideal approach for climate change adaptation and mitigation. A way to harness natural forces for the benefit of the environment, the economy, and society. EcoShape is a unique collaboration between scientists, engineers, builders, governments, and NGOs. In over a decade, EcoShape has been working on building with nature projects in various countries. These projects demonstrate the capacity to build nature-based solutions at scale. Solutions that provide sustainable flood protection, while at the same time cultivating resilient, environmentally rich living and working environments.
Well, building with nature, in the first place, it means working with natural forces instead of against them. So it's really embracing the natural dynamics. And that's really different than traditional design, where you start from the solution that you want. I want a dike, I want a harbor. With building with nature, you try to turn it around. You want to embrace the system where you're working in, and you want to strengthen that system to serve different and multiple services at one time. Take for instance dike strengthening works. What often we are doing is underwater we are placing rock or even concrete materials to strengthen the dike and make sure that the dike stays in position. But at the same time, the way that you place these materials can really affect the type of habitats that you create. And it's actually an opportunity to create a new underwater landscape. And when you think of a dike strengthening works as a way to create a new landscape, then you're really thinking with your building with nature mind on.
I would like to mention the case of the Marconi Project in Delfzijl. Delfzijl is a coastal town on the Eems-Dollard estuary. There we created a salt marsh. It's an artificially created salt marsh, one of the first in its kind. It contributes to the safety of the flood protection behind it, and it also provides opportunities for marine species, plants, birds and fish to reproduce themselves and to add to the biodiversity of the region. The Marconi project was realized in a very complex environment, so it is the estuary of the Eems-Dollard. We mobilized the best estuarine experts, sediment experts, people who are expert in sediment dynamics, ecologists, and in an integrated design team, they produced a design which was suitable for this environment. And this is one of the key factors for successful building with nature projects, that you mobilize experts across various sectors, make them work together and create the best result possible.
Wetlands are very often the place where big water infrastructure has an impact. Wetlands are the water stores in the landscape, and so there's huge and growing demand on those water supplies, and what we see is big infrastructure that's capturing that water, diverting that water away from the wetland systems, and this is bringing benefits to some, but often at the same time disbenefits to many others. We've lost around 70% of the wetlands worldwide, and when you think that people live mostly around the coast, and when you lose these natural buffers, the salt marshes, the mangroves, etc., then the coast is open to erosion, and then people's villages, cities are getting flooded, and this is not sustainable. So putting back wetlands is very much on the agenda. But how you do that in a landscape where the population is rising, where there's cities, where there's all different needs, well, this takes a bit of an engineering approach.
The Indonesian Mangrove Restoration Project is situated on Java, on the north coast of Java, in a heavily degraded environment. Over the past decades, the mangrove belt has been removed and replaced by unsustainable aquaculture, and this resulted in major degradation of the landscape. Erosion, land subsidence, not profitable aquaculture systems, so something had to change. By setting up coastal field schools, by training them, by setting up local pilots so they could apply these measures by themselves and get inspired and see that it works, we eventually resulted in upscaling of this building with nature measure. So the local communities were trained to apply sustainable aquaculture measures by integrating mangroves into their daily livelihood. And in addition, we try to restore the natural sediment balance so mangroves could grow back in a natural way.
Nature is returning. The productivity of the land of the local people is improved through the techniques that we've enabled to bring nature into the aquaculture, to make it more sustainable. So they're more profitable, they're a bit more safe, and nature is recovering. Most of all, they have hope. And we have shown that this approach, it can be the basis of an approach which can be adapted for many other different contexts where erosion is a big pressure.
There's a general understanding and thinking that nature-based solutions are more expensive than traditional solutions. Actually, they are not. Biodiversity, flood protection, construction material, when we all put them together, the return of investment is 1 to 3 to 10 times higher, dependently on the context in which they are built. So sediment is one of the most important resources we have in our planet, like gold or diamond. We just don't know yet. What we can do with sediment, instead of throwing at sea, we could, for example, dry it up and use it to build dikes, the clay we use to build dikes. We could make islands for birds, for nature, but also for construction, for our new cities. We could use it to protect a shoreline and improve the flood safety of our country and restore nature, mangrove or salt marshes, for example. Well, natural material and processes are intrinsically circular and intrinsically sustainable. So the more we use them and we exploit these processes, the more we make circular and sustainable solutions for us and for nature.
EcoShape developed a book with concepts and enablers for the successful implementation of nature-based solutions.
As EcoShape, we've developed this book, Building with Nature, creating, implementing and upscaling nature-based solutions. So what's essential of this book is that we want to inspire by giving some thought ideas about what it can be, what sort of values it can create and what sort of beautiful solutions come out of that.
I really hope that the book will inspire people who want to work on building with nature to actually start doing it. I hope that the different examples will give inspiration and show how it can work for different landscapes, for example, and also to get them started. Building with nature can make a great contribution, I believe, to the world of tomorrow, to be more sustainable, to work on climate change adaptation. In the book we show examples that it can be done, and it can be done quite successful, and also how it can be done. So I really hope these books provide the next step, not only talking about it, but start doing building with nature.
The future will see more and more applications of this concept. At this moment the knowledge is there. You can see that our institutes are familiarizing themselves with it, and the general public wants it. So the future looks bright.
If we can combine our knowledge and these perspectives, we come up with something new, and that's exciting.
You're really going into the detail of a system or something that's happening, a certain function that needs to be fulfilled, and then it opens up. There are far more multiple benefits that can be created there with more stakeholders involved, really creating win-win solutions. And when you get to these win-win solutions and take nature as one of the starting points as well, I'm really getting excited.